This is Henry Wood, last summer receiving the congratulations of Executive Head Dr. Gorlak after some stellar A-level results.
A star, A, superb, isn't it? Absolutely superb. And where are you off to, Henry?
Sheffield for robotics.
We caught up with Henry recently to find out about his experience at Sheffield University over the past 12 months.
So I live on a farm just about 4 miles north of the Sixth Form, and it's, as you'd expect, very idyllic, serene countryside. Not a lot of action, I suppose, is the way to describe it. And maybe that's what influenced me to maybe look into science. Maybe that's what drew me towards science and maths and physics, because it was such abstract ideas and complicated empirical measurements that seemed like such an alien world. I think when you're born on a farm, you either grow up wanting to be a farmer, or you grow up wanting to be the opposite of a farmer. I think that's what's happened for me. So yeah, I think I was fairly set on what I wanted to do because of where I've come from. I suppose I haven't had the level of social immersion that someone from a more urban background would have had, right? So the smaller class sizes at Teesdale, it's felt like a much more natural transition for me, being from the rural background. And obviously with that comes the easier access to one-on-one tutor time. So you can more easily target areas of weakness in your learning, and you get to know those areas of weakness much more intimately, and you're able to correct them easier. At least that's what I found. None of my family's, neither of my parents went to university, and very few of my extended family went to university. It just wasn't something that was done necessarily. But Teesdale, it always felt like an option. It was strange how natural and seamless the idea started to form, that this could actually happen if you want it to. You've got all the resources there that you need, and it's not some sort of reserved, strangely ethereal, distant, upper class concept. Yeah, it made it very accessible. The level of the abstraction of detail that was kept in the teachings, so especially with maths, and I don't know if this is fully dictated by the exam board, but I'm willing to say that it was at least partly down to the way that we were taught at Teesdale. The information was concise enough for me to be able to absorb large amounts of information about a lot of different techniques, and suddenly you feel like you've got quite a broad bank of knowledge that you can apply to a lot of different subjects. And also, it's complex enough that if you wanted to, you could ask or be taught a deeper understanding of the subject, and that's really, really useful for engineering, because you can apply that concept then to a load of different systems, even if it's not specifically intended for it. So I think with Teesdale, that's what put me on to the idea initially that I could go and study something like robotics, which is so alien from farming, I suppose, which is what, if you want to look at it that way, what I was born to be supposed to be doing, I suppose. The way we were taught to think about things, and the openness and the availability of knowledge, there was no boundaries there. It does make you feel like anything's possible in a way, without getting too sentimental about it. Just taking care of the stuff that you take for granted otherwise. It's humbling in a way, but also, yeah, it's strange. Obviously, your distance, both geographically from your family, but you feel closer to them because of it, because you get to appreciate all the things that they've done for you all the time while they've been growing up that you didn't even realise were actual things. You just thought they somehow happened, they did themselves around the house, and then suddenly it's all right, this is how this works. But yeah, it was good. I can only talk for Sheffield, obviously, but one thing that I was definitely apprehensive about before going to uni was making new friends or settling into a group, and it was a strangely seamless experience, especially the way Sheffield did it. It was, you just naturally slipped into groups. I don't know if they knew we were going to get on as people, but somehow we did. We clicked. Yeah, and I'm living with my flatmates next year in a house, so same group of people. Yeah, it's. I feel grateful that a lot more things could have gone wrong for me. I feel like I've had quite a smooth transition into uni, but yeah, it's nice. Like actual robots, they give you like take-home kits and such, so you can work on them with your friends and by yourself, and you get to actually play with the physical robot. You learn the theory about why things work and how you'd apply these concepts, and then you take them into an actual physical device, and you see how it interacts with the real world, and how that could have changes on other systems that you could design. So that's the most interesting thing for me. It's the bridge between like the electrical, the completely theoretical and simulated environment, and then the real world, and you can see the whole process that it goes through. But I think it's also the most interesting thing about robotics is the potential scope of it. So there's so many different branches and nodes that it like seems to span off into that there's really no shortage of things for you to do. Live fence monitoring for one. There's like fertilizing and spraying like by drone. It's a much more efficient way to map like the topology of land, and it can spray fuel in a much more efficient manner like that. There's less wastage than a tractor or a quad bike with a sprayer on could do it, purely because they haven't got the precision to be able to react to the terrain in the same degree that a drone has.